What's going on, football world? It's Carter with X's and O's, and on this video I'm going to be discussing Playside zone blocking rules for the zone system that I am familiar with. The three questions I want to begin with are three questions I tell my offensive linemen to ask pre-snap when they are thinking about the play. Hopefully there's not too much thinking going on, because when you're thinking, you're actually getting beat. But three questions are: Am I playside or am I backside? Am I playside or backside? This makes a difference because backside blocking rules and playside blocking rules are different. And so we are talking about playside on this video, but that's the first question. Am I playside or backside? Second question, am I covered or uncovered? Am I covered or uncovered? As a quick review, if an offensive lineman is covered, okay, let's say that's my offensive lineman. If they are covered, they have an inside shade, a head-up technique, or an outside shade from a defensive lineman right on the line of scrimmage. And so if an offensive lineman gets any of those techniques on him, then he is considered to be covered. Third question, is my inside teammate covered? Is my inside teammate covered? Okay, and so when your linemen ask those three questions and they can answer those three questions, that's going to help them out quite a bit with the zone blocking system that I'm talking about. Let's keep in mind, for the sake of this video, we are talking about play side, and so we are assuming play side is from left to right. And so we are talking about play side. When we are talking about play side in this video, we need to keep in mind that the center, the offensive center, is included play side. Okay? So the offensive center is included on play side. Let's start with our first talking point, which is a statement that an offensive player would make when going through these questions. The first statement is, I am covered and my inside teammate, but instead of teammate, I'm going to put my inside offensive lineman, is also covered. When that happens, the player making this statement knows that he is on a one-on-one block, also referred to as a base block. He needs to take the defender he is responsible for and make sure he is blocked until the whistle blows. Let's diagram this real quick. Let's say we have a center, a guard, a tackle, and a tight end. And then let's go ahead and draw some type of overfront. Or excuse me, let's draw an underfront. So let's say we have a 1 technique, a play side 5 technique, and a play side 9 technique. Whenever we have the offensive linemen make the statements or answer these questions, again, we're talking about play side. So we're going from left to right. Right here, we're going from left to right. So we're talking play side, but we want to ask our linemen, our offensive lineman, in this case the tight end is a running or a run blocker. We have to answer these questions going from play side outside in. So the tight end is the farthest run blocker outside. We're going to answer these questions outside in. And so he says, the tight end says, I am covered, because he has a 9 technique. He says I'm covered, and he also says that the 5 technique, or excuse me, that the offensive tackle is covered. So I'm covered and my inside offensive lineman is covered, which means he has a one-on-one base block, which means this tight end is responsible to block that 9 technique. Let's move on to the next talking point, or the next statement. I am covered. I am covered. And my inside teammate or offensive lineman is uncovered. This is a new rule. This rule tells this player who makes this statement that he is on a 2-on-1 zone block. He is on a 2-on-1 zone block with the inside offensive lineman or his offensive teammate. Okay? So, let's diagram this. Center, guard, tackle, tight end, play side, and let's draw some type of 4-3. It might be a 4-3 or some type of over front. So we have a backside 1, a front side 3, and a front side or a play side 9. Again, going from outside in. The tight end says, I am covered, but my inside offensive lineman is uncovered. So the tight end says, I am covered, but the offensive tackle play side is uncovered. He doesn't have a defensive technique on him. So he says that he is in a 2-on-1 with the inside offensive lineman. So that guy would drop step, reach, and try to climb, and the offensive tackle would bucket step and try to overtake that 9 technique. That's where you get your 2-on-1 block there. Okay, you got your 2 offensive linemen versus the 1-9 technique. One of the advantages of zone blocking. We'll talk about that more here in just a second. The third statement is I am. The first 2 we talked about covered. This one we are going to talk about I am uncovered. I am uncovered. And we're just going to leave it at that. The rule for that one is we are going to have a 2-on-1 zone team with the outside teammate or offensive lineman, but we're also responsible for the plug LB. And I'll tell you what I mean by the plug LB here in just a second. Let's diagram this real quick. So we have our center, we have our guard, we have our tackle, and we have our tight end. And I'm going to draw what we have up top, the very first diagram, which is a type of under front or an odd front. So we'll have a front side 1, a play side 5, and a play side 9. But I'm also going to insert a linebacker right there. Okay, and so again, outside in, when we're talking about zone blocking rules, we're talking about outside in on play side. So the 9 technique says I am covered, but the inside lineman is also covered. So again, okay, the tight end knows that he is on a base block. He is on 1-on-1. He has no help. So he's responsible for that 9 technique. Okay, the 5 technique says I am covered, but the tackle says I am covered, but my inside teammate or the inside lineman is uncovered. So that 5 tech or that offensive tackle is expecting help with his inside offensive lineman, which is the second statement that we had in the middle. But let's move to the third statement. I am uncovered. So now we're talking about the guard. So the guard knows he is on a two-on-one zone with the outside offensive lineman, which would be the tackle, and he is also responsible for the plug LB. So he is also, while he is teaming 2-on-1 to block that 5 technique, his eyes are on that LB. And that LB might take 2 paths. So I'm going to do this in 2 different colors here. I'm going to do the tackles block in blue because he's working to reach and overtake that 5 technique and then climb up to the linebacker. And then the uncovered man right here, the uncovered man is looking to bucket step, and he's looking to bucket step and team on that man. Now, what are we talking about? The plug. If the LB comes downhill right away, he is considered to be a plug LB. But if that LB runs outside and he over pursues, or he pursues over the top, so let's say that LB comes out there. Once that 5 technique is overtaken by the guard, okay, the front side or the play side tackle would have to come out, and he would be responsible for that linebacker. But if the linebacker comes downhill hard into that B gap, so let's say that LB comes downhill hard right now on a blitz or some type of stunt right now, okay, the uncovered man is responsible for that plug LB. So you can see, based upon that color coding, how that team zone work or that team zone blocking works with one another there, based on that color code. So if I am uncovered, I'm on a 2-on-1 zone with the outside offensive lineman, but I'm also responsible for that plug linebacker if he decides to come downhill and plug the gap on the front side. This system works well for both inside and outside zone. Really, on the field, the only thing that I would tell my players to change would be their footwork or their technique. So this system can be employed for communication purposes for inside or outside zone, and it's an effective way to combine the zone blocking scheme with combination blocking terms, such as some of the generic terms are ace lion, ace ram, deuce, tray, those type of things, so that the offensive linemen know who are working with one another in order to block the defensive front. The zone system is a great way to have an offensive attack where the yardage is always consistent moving forward. There's a lot of minimum or there's minimal negative yardage plays when you're running a zone blocking scheme, and you can hold that backside defensive end or shelf player with a running quarterback as well, whether you employ a bootleg or some type of zone read. So you can do that as well, and that's another advantage of the zone blocking scheme. Another advantage would be that you don't have to have great big one-on-one offensive linemen to beat these athletic defensive linemen and linebackers in front of you. You know, if you remember back to the days of the Denver Broncos with Elway and Terrell Davis, that lineman was always outsized or undersized, but they got the job done because they were great communicators, they worked well together, and they were great technicians, and so they could get on their blocks, move to second level, and Terrell Davis just racked up the yards. And so consistent positive yards is what I was talking about earlier. And finally, zone blocking neutralizes the defensive pursuit. So if a defense over pursues, there's going to be cutback lanes, and if the defense under pursues, you'll be able to hit the perimeter and pick up some yards that way. This has been a video discussing Playside zone blocking rules, and I hope it's added to your knowledge of the game. Whether you are a player, a coach, or a fan, please like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, If you'd like to see a video topic in the future, leave a comment in the comment sections of the video or email me at xzandos.cs@gmail.com, and there will be more videos to come. Thank you.